The Eyes of Argos. We are watching. Sublevel of Level 8. The Sanctum Subterraneous. The Eyes of Argos archives are classified. Protector kind and arbiter just together slew the worms of rust. The one to damn our souls doth live, the other died his life to give. Individuals who attempt to access this information without the required permissions will pay the penalty that is due. We are watching. Survival difficulty. Class Elos. Sanctified, remitted, discommended. The image displayed on screen shows the front face of the Sanctum Subterraneous, circa 1931 AD. Description: the Sanctum Subterraneous is an ancient stronghold of the Eyes of Argos, fading and almost forgotten. Once harborer and home for sources of our legions, it hosts but a handful of inhabitants today. Nonetheless, the heritage borne by the Sanctum is priceless, as a site sanctified. At present, it clings to a twofold residual utility as a haven for the pardoned in exile and a worthy trial of fortitude. Position and function. The Sanctum acts as a refuge within the realm of Ground 8. Wanderers who arrive through the gate on envoys, hunts, or journeys of any kind may seek lodging and refreshment within the compound under the faithful care and service of the patrol of the sentinels. Furthermore, the Sanctum is unique among the communes of our institution. Owing to the dangers of the caverns, it alone is open to all who seek entry, so long as guests express respect towards our code. Footnote: this is apart, of course, from the active members of the Dark Cults. Even so, visitors are few and far between. The compound lies outside all known regions of stability of Ground 8. The path to its location is exceedingly perilous and unfamiliar to the heathens. Trial of Fortitude. For those among our numbers who seek the calling of Martial, the Sanctum is also one of the 3 sites sanctified to which they may journey to complete the last of their advancement rites, the Trial of Fortitude. Of the sites sanctified, there are 3. The ruins of Avalor, the Purgatorial Monastery, the Sanctum Subterraneous. To earn the glory they desire, a watcher must prove their worth on the bloodied path of the Righteous One. Embarking from the headquarters, they shall brave storm and peril, dust and sword, strife and sin, without food or drink, shelter or rest, or a single mouthed or spoken word. They must depart, and in 3 days arrive alone at the door of a site sanctified. This is the trial of fortitude. High Marshal Naruyama, Third Council of the Modern Enclave. Though it is the oldest site, the Sanctum Subterraneous is in least demand for the trial, owing to the exceeding peril and navigational difficulty of the 8th ground. Of all the marshals commissioned each year, only a handful will challenge the gauntlet of the Sanctum. Of even those, less than a quarter survive the journey. Those who do, however, are rewarded with reforged strength and incalculable glory. Layout. In addition to expected facilities for lodging, food, and other such necessities, the Sanctum contains 7 additional unique demeses within its ground. As with the other sites sanctified, those who emerge victorious through the trials of each of the caverns may claim for themselves a prize from one of these 7 departments, 1 for each patrol, as a reward for their ordinance to the rank of Marshal. Ordained marshals are warned to handle their prize with care. To lose, destroy, or squander it, even inadvertently, is an act of desecration, for which they may be duly stripped of their title in shame. Forge of the Dauntless Victor. The Forge of the Dauntless Victor sits at the heart of the Sanctum, a furnace blazing with inexhaustible light. It is fueled by a well of glowing, potent magma, which, when cooled, turns not to rock but directly to steel. A well said to bubble up from an opening to Sheol itself, which lies directly beneath. The smiths who labor upon the forge have perfected their metallurgic arts for generations, their craft engulfed and purified within its magnificent flame. It burns hotter than the surface of stars, and it remains, to this day, the purest and finest forge of all the labyrinth. Those who prevail against the flames of trial may claim a weapon or article of armor of choice from the forge. If none suits the new marshal, they may request that one be crafted to their liking. It is of no small significance that Brocadium the Bold's greatsword was forged here, which slew 10,000 sinners in the Fourth Nomadic Siege. Grounds of Obdurate Virtue. In the courtyard of the Sanctum, the grounds of Obdurate Virtue are an ancient and sacred sparring ground for the most diligent of students, and most formidable of warriors. The smooth, flat, cold stone floor is uniformly bare and austerate, training those upon it to focus unflinchingly upon their pursuit of precise and absolute perfection. Furthermore, the grounds are imbued with an astonishing magic. Any wound inflicted by those within its sphere are instantly healed, even that which is fatal. Those who spar upon the grounds will learn to hit and strike with deadly sincerity without the fear of death to hold them back. Visiting watchers may make free use of the grounds for training. It is said that the automations of the grounds were a gift of the Machina. Extolled for their skill and tutelage, their aid has helped many attain mastery in combat. One whose virtue endures through trial may request a leave of absence of up to a year from their patrol, to train for a prolonged time in the sacred grounds. This is, in fact, a mandatory requirement for new marshals of the justice seekers who have chosen the Sanctum for their trial. Archive of Assidual Acuity. The image displayed on screen shows the rich shelves of the archive, circa 1987 AD. The Archive of Assidual Acuity sits in quiet, a floor itself atop the living quarters of the Sanctum. As a treasure trove of ancient Holy Writ, the archive contains the oldest and most complete record of our Order's glorious history. Lady Blanche was said to have sent delegates to the Sanctum some centuries ago and traded texts from her prized collection for some of ours. Watchers who, by sharp wit, have traversed out of trial may claim a text from the archive, which may interest members of the Lawkeepers. These include books of sigil magic, a powerful aid in battle for new marshals less inclined. Pyre of Ardent Fury. Seated above the roof of the forge, the Pyre of Ardent Fury burns with prevalent zeal. Magma from the forge below is funneled up into its bronze altar, kindling coals to fuel a fire that has blazed unquenched for millennia. The flames are said to burst forth from Genhana itself, seeking vengeance upon the unredeemed. In ages past, the worst of sinners were set alight and immolated, screaming upon the altar, though this practice has long since been abolished. One whose passion sustains them through the trial may claim a coal from the pyre, to be placed in a lantern. The flame will rage unyielding for decades, and does not extinguish in wind or water. This is a favored choice for new marshals of the Sin Hunters. Pool of Penitent Solace. The Pool of Penitent Solace encircles the Sanctum. Unadulterated waters, untouched by man and creature alike, well up from secret springs, free of the fouling almond scent. From a crevice on the Sanctum's southmost edge, they pour through into the pool and stream out into the winding rivers of the caverns beyond. Its flow is tranquil, and its quiet, ebbing waves lap eternally onto the Sanctum's stony shores. Its tide is low, hardly reaching one's waist at its deepest point, and gently grinding the ankles along its easterly shallows. To bathe or drink in the pool cleanses not only the flesh, but the spirit of infirmity. The coolness and clarity of the waters refresh both body and mind. It is said that these are the tears of the righteous dead, poured out ever in intercession for the iniquities of those redeemed. Those who have made their penance through trial may claim a vial of pristine water from the pool. This has remained a particularly popular tradition among new marshals of the Sons of Guilt. Monument of Resolute Reverence. The image displayed on screen is a portrait of the monument, made by August Pinelli, 1937 AD. Argost's fierce eyes blaze bright in the gloom. Monument of Resolute Reverence. Above the Sanctum, the Monument of Resolute Reverence rises, his head almost grazing the ceiling of the cavern. Hewn from stone into the likeness of our patron himself, his justice's eyes are lit from within the very same fires that fuel the forges and pyre. Their beacons shine gloriously forth in the dark and pierce our trembling mortal hearts. Those whose praise through trial prove true may claim a tomb beneath the monument as their final resting place. This was the preference of the Knights of Argos, before the heretics' recent disgrace. Bodies of valiant watchers found close to the entrance of the sanctum are also buried here. Tower of Ceaseless Vigil. His back against the monument, the Tower of Ceaseless Vigil is carved in the armored form of the compatriot, upright and undaunted. His hands rest firmly upon his blade, driven deep into the ground. Unlike the monument, the tower is hollow, and his body houses the garrison of the sentinels. Beneath his helm, his eyes remain unkindled. New marshals may engrave their name on the steps of the tower. Owing to their heritage within the sanctum, nearly all marshals of the sentinels take their trial in Ground 8 and claim this as their prize. History. Hailing from the antediluvian era, before our order took its extant form, the sanctum was once a favored fortress of his Justice Argos, a bulwark of his scorching light into the foul, darkened caverns of the eighth ground. Origin. The image displayed on screen is a painting titled The Warriors, created by Aravaci circa 1497 AD. The compatriot clad in red and Argos clad in black stand face to face in this painting. Origin. It is said that the sanctum was founded in an ancient aeon past remembrance, built as a gesture of deep and profound friendship between Argos and patron and an equal of like stature. He is called by some the Empyrean, guard champion, kind protector, first of knights, and, by our scholars, the compatriot. In powerful camaraderie, the two hewed the sanctum together from the boulders of the caverns, purifying it as a holy place from which they and others like them waged war on the darkness beyond. Lamentably, few texts survive to tell us of the compatriot's nature. Within the fragments which remain, he is variously named Cletus, Claus, or Claudius. In appearance, he is clad in knightly armor, not dissimilar in appearance to the vestments of the antediluvians, furnished with a distinctive cloak of crimson. Protector kind and arbiter just, together slewn the worms of rust. The one to damn our souls doth live, and the other died his life to give. Excerpt from Rhyme of the Deathless Hero. Footnote. Of its thousands of lines of verse, this is the only complete quatrain which survives. Some fragments suggest the compatriot's role as a second patron to the antediluvian order, though the veracity of this claim is vigorously disputed. Nevertheless, it is common consensus that the compatriot did not exist and that his bond with Argos fractured over time. The writings state that their relations, in due course, developed into a rivalry, which was at times friendly and at times ferocious. Little is written of the fate of the compatriot, though mention of his name in the text ceases by the end of the Great War. Of the sanctum's origin, we know nothing more. His justice will not speak of it. The Great War. The sanctum is well known as the site of the first great conquest against the Veiled. During the Great War, it was from this stronghold that his justice made his campaign, and utterly vanquished Invictus the First and Terrible, cursed be his sinful name, and wounded, yet unyielding, struck down his spider-formed monstrosity, his most awful creation. For reasons known only to Argos himself, the fortress fell out of his favor towards the end of the Great War. The second edict of Valence Rowan his justice decreed. The sanctum of the eighth ground has become a weariness to me, for the name of Claudius has become a gall in my mouth. Henceforth I shall bear its vexation no longer. The Sanctum Subterraneous shall be disinhabited, and our forces move to the 11th ground. Nevertheless, it is written, that which is sanctified shall be holy forever. Let but a dram of our hosts remain, to guard and keep it. Let also its gate be left open, that it may stay a foothold within the caverns profane, and that the wayward and the stray may take refuge there. Whoever dare profane the holy ground of the sanctum, let him yet be anatheme. Justice has spoken. 25th decree of his divine justice, second edict of Valence Rhone. In the thousands of years since the second edict, Argos has made no visitation to the sanctum, yet he opens its gate periodically, sending watchers for envoys or hunts into Ground 8. The dissident. The fortress's heritage was further tarnished over 400 years ago, when the dissenter arose from the ranks of the sentinels stationed within. Marcius Martyr and his forces overtook the sanctum and lay siege to the courtyard on high, ushering in the War of the Descent. Footnote: the courtyard on high was the precursor to our present-day headquarters. He took with him the better part of the sentinel forces, and watchers from other patrols quickly deserted and joined them. In the ensuing slaughter, more than 400 lives were taken before peace was restored. As punishment for the bloodshed, his justice banished to the sanctum not only the martyrs' dissidents, but also the sentinels' full patrol in their entirety. Only the highest of their ranks were permitted leave of the 8th ground, till the Enneadith heresy of the last century, when the loyalty of their patrol was proven true. To this day, a vestige of the dissidents remain within the sanctum, and are overseen by a detachment of the sentinels for its upkeep and defense. Should any of their numbers ever step beyond the bounds of the caverns, his justice has decreed our full freedom to eliminate them without hesitation. More details may be sought of the accounts of such events, in particular of the heresy of Marcius. Yet it is written, "Of the martyr let us speak no further, lest the dissidents rise again." High Marshal Diocretius, 14th Council of Amuliech. Entrances and egress. 1. Bloodgate. Kept within the innermost central room of the sanctum, the Gate of Blood is its chief point of entrance and egress. Alike to its counterparts at the headquarters and the platform, the gate is a marvel of ancient sigil engineering, possessing the immense power to generate a reliable opening to any ground of one's choosing, yet this comes at the cost of its fuel, sacrificial blood. Footnote: the gate of the platform has been extensively enhanced by the best of our sigil artificers. It now empowers the entire platform for transport to any location suited to contain it. The image displayed on screen is a painting titled Ancient Gate, painted by Aravaki circa 1502 AD. The painting depicts the blood gate as it appears while ignited. To ignite such a gate, blood must be poured out upon its altar till the soul departs and the offering's life essence is sufficiently infused in the flow. Not any blood will suffice, for the purity and quality of the sacrifice is tied to the reach of the gate. For travel transcending to a different ground, no less than human blood will suffice. Travel between two gates, as from the headquarters to the sanctum for instance, bears a cost yet higher, demanding blood of noble birth. The portal produced is, furthermore, entirely temporary, and will cease operation when the blood has run dry. These offerings, appearing unfamiliar and barbaric to us today, are obsolete. At the end of the Great War, when the sanctum was disinhabited, its altar was also removed, and its sacrifices ceased. It is therefore impossible now to open the gate from within the sanctum itself, yet the gate remains in use. It is more than occasionally opened from the other side at the headquarters, where his justice resides. Its twin remains. Today the sanctum's gate is opened and closed by Argos's decree and under his command and his alone. To ignite it, Argos draws his own blood, for he cannot die unless he so chooses. 2. Ground 63. The 63rd ground is, in addition, a much more conventional entranceway. Located at the north end of the sanctum's bounds, it is guarded with sigil magic, and only sentinels who know its glyphs may freely pass or grant entry to and fro. Inhabitants of the sanctum make frequent brief excursions through some even daily, for the refreshment of skylight and open air. Under sentinel oversight, even dissidents are allowed to use the blessings of such provisions. 3. Ground 8. Entrance to the sanctum is evidently also possible by perilous direct navigation through the caverns of Ground 8 itself. The sanctum's physical gate entrance, leading out to the 8th ground, is located on its south side. Save for those embarking on their trial, this route is strongly discouraged. Addendum. The letters which follow have been archived here, but are left for the eyes of the marshals and above only. The eyes of the young and the weak are kept from it, lest they stumble and fall into dissidence. Access files. Loading. Decryption complete. Authorization key accepted. Access granted. Welcome, Marshal. Early in the year 2021 AD, it was discovered that a dissident had appeared before the heathens, in particular, the importunate organization known as the Meg. Claiming to hail from the Sanctum, he preached before them the doctrines of the dissidents. The development has been one of great concern, for fear of potential leaks to the recent Morganite heresy, and that the dissident rise again. To Marshal Andrew of the Sentinels, steward of the Sanctum Subterraneous. Greetings. Concerning news has reached us. Our spies report that a dissident has left the Sanctum and gone to the heathens. They witnessed his actions and intercepted the preceding letter from the Meg stronghold on Ground 11. To my new acquaintances, my apologies for leaving in such haste. My work is done for now. I am returning to the Sanctum from which I came. You seemed eager to hear more, so you may find me there if you need to. Unlike most of the other Argoistic strongholds, the Sanctum is open to visitors. Alas, the path is not easy to spot, and not easy to traverse. Go to Ground 8 and follow the sigil of the eyes near the nesting ground of the guiding lights. If I had the opportunity, I would have stayed to guide some of your operatives there, if you so wished, but the Argosites will be after me, so I cannot stay. The eyes of Argos, the fools, they know nothing. To this day, they set a trail of blood before the way to the Sanctum. How many watchers die each year, lost, starving, drowning in the caves? How many perish seeking a prize they cannot achieve? Imbeciles, do they not know why the Sanctum was built? It was not simply for justice, it was for mercy. In the eons past, in the birth of the world, such things were established so that man might know the deathless hero, the conquering king, the just and merciful chosen one. It was he who separated the Paragon twins, and he who is bringing them back together. The Sanctum was built by two, but the two pointed to the one. But they have stifled mercy. They have snuffed his name out, that justice should reign supreme, and the portrait be incomplete, that no one should remember. Senseless ones, seeing they do not see. The king has done what man cannot. He is the dauntless victor. He is the obdurate exemplar. He is the all-wise prophet. He is the ardent zealot. He is the penitence payer. He is the herald of truth, and he is the heralded righteous one. He alone overcame. He alone paved the way. He alone forged the path through the sinful dark. The Sanctum is no reward to attain. It is a prize that is already won. The Sanctum, its pool and its pyre, its forge and its texts, its grounds and its heights, are they not meant as blessings to be simply received? It is from the Sanctum that men are sent out, for they there are first cleansed and restored and refreshed. Even Argos admits the truth is so, for he uses its gate to dispatch his servants into the 8th ground, though for business, vain, and worthlessness. Why then has the Sanctum been left to decay? Why are its inhabitants not sent forth as the light to rescue the wandering ones from the dark? Why are its doors shut, its gate guarded, so that men must fight their way there through the cavernous labyrinthian road? Do they not see that they walk in reverse? Why do they smother the gift of mercy? Why do they make grace a wage to be earned? I'm speaking to you now, you Argosites. I know that you're reading. I know that you've confiscated this by now. You claim that you're wise, you claim that you're strong, you claim that you see, but here's the truth. You are fools, you are weak, you are blind. We are not the heretics here. You've forsaken and scorned the law of the king and set up a law of your own design. I write and speak to all who hear me. The time has come, the hour is here. Come, follow the man in white. Alric. The words of this fool are irrelevant and incendiary, and before his justice they will not stand. He must be silenced. The High Marshal seek an account from you. We are indeed aware that the discerners exist outside the sanctum, having escaped and evaded our grasp before. Perhaps he is one of them. Shed light onto the truth of this matter, and tell us if this troublemaker arises from the sanctum, from the Morganites, or from elsewhere. Make haste. The Enclave Council convenes in the 3 days. I hope to hear from you before then. From High Marshal Seneca, leader of the Sentinels. 2. High Marshal Seneca, leader of the Sentinels. Peace, dear friend. Inform the council that they're correct. Alric is indeed one of us. Know that I had no part in this, or anything he might have done. Know that I don't condone his actions, and I agree that his words are arrogant and foolish. For your knowledge and assurance, Alric has since returned to the sanctum. I have spoken to him, and he has presently expressed no intent to leave again. According to his own words, he acted completely alone. He wasn't aided by anyone, either from here or from pockets of dissidents or heresy elsewhere. Our forces will discipline and nurture him as we see fit, to make sure that this won't happen again. At the same time, I ask of you to request the council to simply let the matter slide. I know the lad personally. Alric is young and foolhardy, and for all the boldness of his words, he has yet to find security within his heart. Alric came to the sanctum 8 years ago from the Sons of Guilt, when his marshal himself, Aron you may remember, defected, left him here, and departed for some other dissident holdout. Though he is brash, his heart is honest, and he seeks simply to hold out for the truth. It is truth that his thinking and beliefs are dissident, yet though it is frowned upon, it is not forbidden, but in fact protected by our law. As it is written, let alone the dissident one, who walks not on a violent path. Though his words are bitter and gall, we shall persecute them not, for their way is a way of honor. If indeed they walk it true, there is no fault in them. Let him live in peace in the sanctum, lest the dissidents rise again. No blood shall be spilt in the sanctified place. Whomever within the sanctum's bounds dares to shed a dissident's blood, let them be anathema. Yet cast the dissident away, for he is no longer one of us. If he chooses to leave the sanctum, and should one lay hands on him, let no man call him to account, for the dissident's penalty is upon himself, for all the innocent blood that was shed in the war of dissidents. Justice has spoken. 674th Decree of His Divine Justice, Edict the 17th of Immunoli. Seeing as Alric has returned to the sanctum, he is protected by the edict, which cannot be altered. Like it or not, nothing can be done to him while he is under the sanctum's watch, and I trust that with due time and care, Alric will learn to follow the rules and speak with tact when expressing his views, even if the dissident beliefs remain. Rest assured, this is a minuscule matter and the situation is under control. From Andrew, your brother and friend. To Marshal Andrew. Whatever you have said is true. Your request is received and also granted. Know that the High Marshals do not take kindly to this decision. Though his justice has pacified them, our patron was not wholly pleased with the proceedings. You know he despises talk of the sanctum. In plainer terms, I cannot keep covering for you. I am assured of your upright character. Others of my rank are not. Dear friend, I beseech you, prove your loyalty. As you have noted, this Alric is not the first to have dissident from our ranks. Discipline these dissidents, else at least keep them silent. Do not let their doctrines spread. I cannot guarantee the sanctum's security should Argos decide to change his mind. From High Marshal Seneca, leader of the Sentinels. 2. High Marshal Seneca, leader of the Sentinels. Peace, dear friend. Inform the council that they're correct. Alaric is indeed one of us. Know that I had no part in this, or anything he might have done. Know that I don't condone his actions, and I agree that his words are arrogant and foolish. For your knowledge and assurance, Alaric has since returned to the Sanctum. I have spoken to him, and he has presently expressed no intent to leave again. According to his own words, he acted completely alone. He wasn't aided by anyone, either from here or from pockets of dissidents or heresy elsewhere. Our forces will discipline and nurture him as we see fit, to make sure that this won't happen again. At the same time, I ask of you to request the council to simply let the matter slide. I know the lad personally. Alaric is young and foolhardy, and for all the boldness of his words, he has yet to find security within his heart. Alaric came to the Sanctum 8 years ago from the Sons of Guilt, when his marshal himself, Aron you may remember,